we will move towards our next session, which is on the topic Future of BPO is Technology, Emerging Technology in the New Era. And for this, I would like to invite on stage Mr. Jeetendra Singh, who is Head of Data Science, Analytics and Innovation at WNS. Giving a brief introduction for Mr. Jeetendra, he carries overall 20 plus years of experience working with MNCs like TCS, Ingersoll Rand, IMI, and have worked in the area of digital transformation, AI, and machine learning, software development, agile project management, and operational excellence. He has done his master in applied mathematics from IIT Chennai and University of Karlsruhe, Germany. With this, please welcome him with a huge round of applause.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for listening me now. Post lunch, as 𝗖𝗍 said, I think this is not the opportune time to basically have a long conversation. So I'll also try to make it short, as 𝗖𝗍 did for her session. And I see a lot of question around where we are headed in BPO industry, or what kind of transformation my colleague sitting next to me was asking. So I'll try to cover those aspects of things which are probably not yet covered. I think people have already talked about cloud, how are we automating things and all that. I basically come from AI/ML background, so probably my focus will be more towards that. I hope you will enjoy it. So with that, let me begin. So I think we have talked enough, so I will not talk about this. Okay, so starting with my first slide, what I'm seeing in my experience of over 20 years, I think you start from left to right. So we started like using technology as an enabler to do something in a simpler way, maybe digitizing and then storing, then transmitting. But of late, things have become like a digital business, or technology at the core, right? And this is the paradigm shift we are talking about, which is leading to many different things, right? So anything and everything we are talking since morning, probably the genesis of that is tech is becoming the core of a business. So you can imagine an airlines company, probably the technology is more important than the carrying person from A to B. Or if you go to a real estate company, building a, constructing a building is probably, of course, important. He has to build it, but it's given, right? You buy a car. I mean, you take any car for that matter today, it will take you from point A to point B. Take my word. It's given, right? There's so much of regulation around that. We have built it for years. At least my first few years was with automotive company. And I can say with certainty that all the cars on the road will work for you. But then you buy Tesla, you buy Mahindra new XUV700. I'm seeing people queuing up for a year, right? I mean, booking now and expecting delivery a year from now. The question is why, right? I mean, what is changing there? That's the moot point here. And then we are talking about personalization, experience, basically. So end of the day, in my perspective, everything today is settling down around experience. You all want great experience when you go to restaurant, you board a flight, you buy a car, you buy a house, you name it, you are looking for an experience. So the end game is that we have to manage experience. If you are not getting it right, I think we are in trouble. For any company, if they are not able to manage experience well, I think they have a problem. And that's where basically technology is coming in a big way to enable this, because in the current environment, managing experience is extremely difficult, which I will show. So this is the challenge. 20 years back, if you had a bad experience, let's say in a school, your kid is school, what did you do? Maybe talk to your neighbor and cribbed about it, that maybe teacher was not listening, maybe the admin was not listening, and then the game is over. School had no impact whatsoever because of that. The company restaurant has no impact, even if they serve the dirtiest food they could cook, because you were not empowered yesterday. Today you are in a network, what we call it a customer network. This is what it is, right? If you have a bad experience anywhere, probably next 5 minutes, your experience will be out on a net and millions of people can see through it, okay? So in olden days, when you were not empowered or the customer was not empowered, versus today, it's a super empowered, okay? And in that environment, managing the experience of the customer is the key. And in fact, I'll show you, you have to manage to every customer. You can't say that, oh, this is 1% of the customer and hence statistically not significant, right? So basically, we have to manage the experience at a scale, and that's where we need cloud, we need big data, we need AI, you name it, probably you need everything, and still you will be finding yourself running short of tools and techniques, basically, because it's at a scale, Okay, so that's the starting point, that we need to get the experience of the customer right, and hence we need all the things what we are talking about. So this is what I was talking about, like 20 years back, this was the funnel, right? That if you are a marketeer, you advertise on a TV, then you send a mail, brochure and all that, and then finally customer buys your thing, and then you give him reward point, matter over. Nothing goes back in the loop. But what are we talking about? Customer network environment. He sees you on a website, he sees you in some other blog, somebody else has written somewhere else, not even on your website. Then he comes to your website, he does some review, he does some research, and he goes through this journey, and surprisingly, if he buys your product, he writes some positive review, he fits into your funnel. So if you are able to get a good customer who is positive about you, he is no more the one customer. In fact, in marketing world, we are saying acquiring a customer is 10x expensive, one customer acquisition, okay? But if you have a one positive customer, probably he can bring in 5 more customers at no cost for you, because he's writing positive review about you. So how do you manage his experience to get this right? So let's keep going. This is one good example. If you are aware of this picture, I mean, example of 0.1% statistically not so significant. The song is United Breaks Guitar. If you are aware of this event, that one passenger traveling in United Airlines America, his guitar was broken for some reason, and then he asked for penalty, and the airline said, come on, this is not something we can compensate you. What he did is, he was a musician, so he ended up creating a song, and you look at the graph, within 5 days it has a 20 million views. Finally, the United Airlines CEO had to call this guy and get this fixed. That's the power of experience today. So how do you make sure that even you are not going wrong on 0.1% of the event, right? Be it our agents or speaking over phone, like when they are talking, how do you make sure that he's having the right conversation, right? When you are sending an email through your customer support team, how are you making sure that the emails are written properly? Because you can't dictate every email, right? We don't have the resources. And that's where the power of technology is creeping in, that I can monitor in real time how my agents are talking, what kind of mails I'm receiving, what kind of feedback I'm getting, which page my customers are viewing in what channel, right? So this brings to, like as I was saying, to the core topic, that this is not limited to one industry. Experience is important for every industry we talk about. The name you give it, ITS, KPO, LPO, RPO, and you can keep naming it. I think the sir was asking this question, that where this BPO industry is headed. And in my perspective, I think Trisha covered very well. She said that from a service provider, we have moved to a strategic partner. And take my word, you introspect, whichever space you operate. Today, every company, be it a real estate company, to a media company, to a print, industrial, automotive, everybody has a captive or basically data engineering, data science, or IT related, let's say, resources. They are in automotive, they are in aerospace, but they are building capability on the other side, which is not their core operation, right? The basic concept of core, non-core was that I'm a banker, so I'll do banking well and I will outsource the IT part, right? But today you look at any company for that matter, everybody is building this capability within their company. The reason is very simple, that they are not relying on you. And that's the challenge we need to own, sir. He was asking the question, if we can convince the companies we are serving that, hey, we can bring the advantage of a scale, basically we can leverage the learning we have across the verticals we are operating, and we can serve you faster, more cost efficiently, more consistently. I think we have the game here. And then the pie is no more 50 billion or 100 billion or 500 billion we're talking about, probably it will go in trillions. That's this scale we are talking about. So what are the changing trend here within BPO space? So to enable all these things, right? We talk now the problem statement, we know what it takes to fix it. So here are the 6-7 things at a high level I'm talking about. This is like a multidimensional forces converging together, right? So 10 years back, cloud was not there. If you wanted to run a big AML algorithm for training, probably you will be struggling to get the resources. Today I have a cloud infra available, I can do the load balancing and I can spin up as many server as I want, right? I can run as big application as I want, right? So resource, and they are relatively cheap as well, right? So you have a artificial intelligence coming in, big data coming in, You have a automation, we'll talk about that hyper automation coming in. Then you have a cloud system to enable all these things. So these are the forces coming together, and end of the day, we are aiming to have a better experience for our customer, right? So let's look at each one of them. I will cover some of them. So what all things AI are doing for us, and in future it will do many more. I'm just listing out few of them. So as our colleagues are saying, it's a journey. Today maybe we are at 40%, 5 years back if you would have asked me, maybe we were at 10%, and 5 years down the line probably maybe will be 80%, 90%. So the good news about this is that AI is learning every day, and any company, be it service provider or the company which is serving the customer, if the model is learning today, and if it is learning for next 3 years, it will be technically impossible for a new entrant to come in and build a model and make it as competitive or as accurate as what he has built over 10 years. So the beauty here is, if your model is experiencing over 5-10 years, the model itself will become your competitive advantage. I think Trisha was talking about Alexa or any experience you have with any music app or video playing app. I mean, without naming any company, it is technically impossible to defeat Netflix if any other content provider like G or Sony or anybody else is trying to create the same application. There are companies out there, they can build this music or video app very quickly, but you can't build or you can't bring the learning of Netflix in next 5 years. Even 10 years could be short, okay, because you will not get the customer in the first place, right? Everybody is looking for experience, and nobody will come to you because their experience will be horrible versus what they are getting on Netflix, because they are at a different level altogether. So this gap of experience difference, you cannot bridge over time now. Once you lost the battle, you have lost the battle, right? So that's the power of it. So many things are happening in this space. So just I'm giving some example of it, that how we are monitoring a brand on a social media. As I gave the example of it, that he posted something on the 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 guitar, right? If it was tracked in first 5 minutes, probably the damage would have been very, very less, right? He would have been given the 10x of his guitar cost and things would have been settled, right? But then it was not monitored even for a month. By that time, the view went to 50 million, right? So that's the power of AI, which can do for us, that we can configure the system, it's monitoring, it's collecting the feed, and we can do in real time where the problem is, and we can resolve. The second point is the most important one. AI is at the core of creating hyper personalization or personalization at a scale, right? If I want to give unique experience to every user I have, I need to have a computing power, data, pattern, and everything. Human cannot do it. You cannot configure every user's like a list of musics which he or she will like, or the item he or she will see when he's going on an app, right? So all those things cannot be done, and this is where I don't want to name BPO, but a strategic partner, any company serving the other company in this space, could be a differentiator for the next company, because on their own they may not be able to do it. You look at DMart or Big Bazaar in front of you, Big Bazaar is no more, right? If we all follow, right? I mean, 𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 Big Bazaar is in bankruptcy, right? But in the same space, maybe the DMart is doing wonders. If you have invested in DMarts during their IPO, probably will be 3x or 5x richer, right? Am I right or wrong? In the exactly same space, in exactly same market, I don't know anything about DMart, but what I know for sure is that customers are loving it. My wife is loving it. I'm sure many women and men who are shopping there, they are loving it. Otherwise, how are they growing in the same space where somebody is dying? So something is right at their end. We need to understand how he's able to get that experience, right? So that's the power of data or AI or the sourcing capability he has built, right? So at some point he must be using something to create the differentiation versus the rest, right? Otherwise he cannot be a winner in the same space. So moving to next, so I'll skip this. So AI, data, cloud is one thing. Then how are you engaging your customer? I was giving again example of tracking social media. So people are giving you feedback not only through a call. I mean, 20 years back, if I have a problem, I will call I'll basically visit. 20, 30 years back when the mobile was not there, telephony was not there. Then the telephony came, then the email came. Today people are expecting you to respond when they are posting on Twitter as well, right? And you need to have the ability to collect anything and everything he does over his digital journey. He's basically leaving a trail behind. Exactly, Google tracks you, right? You search, if I search, I'm from, let's say, Patna. If I'm searching a ticket like Bangalore to Patna, now next time I'm browsing something, the Google is showing me those options only, right? So that's the level of personalization and automation is what we are talking about. Then the last thing is, end of the day, if we have to orchestrate all these things, right? So technology is one part of it, the capability to predict, capability to recommend, all these things are there, but still we need a platform to orchestrate. And that's where robotic process automation is coming in. So I'm not taking a side that it's right or wrong. What I'm saying is we need this tool or platform to orchestrate the solution at whatever maturity level we have. And that's where the value chain, I took it from Gartner. This is what the value chain we are talking about. The future workflow of robotic process automation is the leg which is going to support this work, but that's of a less important to us. The bigger value is lying in the bottom bucket, which you are seeing, right? Which will enable it to make it more personalized, more adaptive and all those things. And if you look at the data they have published, the top bucket which creates the platform is only about 30 billion by now. But the tools and the techniques and the enablers which are going to make this really smart and intelligent is about $500+ billion we are talking about. And that's the power of technology within BPM space is what I'm basically talking about here. This is a new trend. I just took it from Mint. I think 2 days back you all saw that Flipkart has launched Flipverse, right? All of you saw this news? So if a company is now selling in metaverse, somebody was talking about, Trisha was saying that next call will be in metaverse, right? Now already Flipkart from India we're talking about, sitting in Bangalore. They have launched the going to launch shopping in metaverse, right? How are you going to support them? You need a technology to give a feedback in real time that, oh, this dress looks good. A bot will be there to tell, and then somewhere the human will take over. But we still need the orchestration capability to support somebody in metaverse as well. So these are the key emerging trends. I already touched base, so since the time is up, so I'll not spend much time. So these are this is my last slide. So in fact, there is a convergence of technology happening to enable this experience which I am talking about, and all of them are coming together. So you have a real-time data collection through IoT devices, artificial intelligence, you have augmented reality, and take my word, maturity level could be at level A, level B, level C, but we are in this upward journey for sure. I can only assure you as a head of data science from WNS, we are investing heavily to make sure that we use as many components of this sheet into our offering. Of course, the maturity of the companies will be different, but that's the way we are placed in BPO. So I'll take a pause because this is my last slide. Any questions since I'm out of time, so if you want I can skip or...
No, we have to skip, sir, because we are just running out of time.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you so much for your session.
Thank you.